I'm Aaron Russell. I'm out and about today at Richmond Comix for the premiere of the Astonishing X-Men number 51 with Tommy Donovan here. So, give us a brief background about this issue and why it's such a groundbreaking thing about Northstar and Kyle.
Well, there's been, a million different marriages in comics. Spider-Man, Mary Jane, Superman, Lois Lane. But as far as I know, this is the first gay marriage in a mainstream comic book.
So let's talk about briefly, who is Northstar, why he's very important in terms of GLBT people and comic book superheroes and stuff. He's not the only gay superhero, but he was one of the first ones?
He was. He was Marvel's first gay character. He came out in the early 90s, which was unheard of at the time. Since Northstar came out, Marvel's had quite a few gay characters, but his profile in the X-Men in the last few years has kind of given him a lot more visibility amongst comic book fans.
Because he's not only gay, he's also a mutant.
Indeed, he is. He's a mutant from Canada, and he joined the X-Men a long time ago, and they have finally figured out how to write the character.
So in terms of comics, and this being a groundbreaking issue in terms of marriages, why do you think now is the right time for this issue, this whole marriage, compared to, like, say, 10 years ago? Do you think comic readers are more open to it, or just because of the subject matter or the media that comics are just something to deal with more issues before other mainstream media?
Comics have always been in the forefront of social issues. The X-Men originally was an allegory for race relations in America. So, that was 1963.
Right.
So they've always been at the forefront of social change. And in the last month, we've seen the president and a lot of other big names in the world come out and say, hey, this is okay now. Which, the way comics are written, this book was designed 6 months ago.
Right.
So once again, we're seeing comics kind of jumping in to the social commentary before everyone else.
And leading up to this, they dealt with him dating and having a boyfriend and other relations.
Yes.
Prior to this whole issue, Kyle wasn't like the first boyfriend.
No,
but he was
not
the
at
one.
all. The character of Northstar is, for most of his time in comics, has been kind of a jerk. And, he's one of those guys that kind of flitted from one person to the next. Even before he came out as gay, he never really had a solid relationship. And, he has abandonment issues. He lost 2 sets of parents. His sister went crazy. So the idea that this character found love and was able to get married and kind of be a positive role model is a really interesting story.
Now, Northstar is not the only gay character in comic books. There have been several others after him.
Sure. There's actually just about everywhere in the Marvel Universe right now. There's a gay kid in the Avengers Academy.
Okay.
There are a couple of gay characters here and there, not just at Marvel. There's some at DC. One of the new members of the Teen Titans is a gay character, is a new character created recently. And then we've got Batwoman,
right,
which was written about on Gay RVA a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of positive role models out there for the gay community in comics right now. Yeah,
because you've got the relaunch of the Alan Scott character as the Green Lantern.
Yes.
You've had detective characters from Batman like Renee Montoya.
Mm-hmm.
You've had Rainmaker from Gen 13.
I had actually forgotten about Rainmaker.
So there have been several along the way. In terms of like comic book superheroes, do you think their sexuality is an important part in making them accessible to other readers? I remember as a kid reading X-Men, I considered mutant to be equivalent to being gay. That was my whole, okay, people fear and hate them, but they're kind of born different, and so there was the whole Xavier Institute.
I think it's important, especially for a book like X-Men or Avengers, who have a multitude of characters, to have a diversity in those characters. You can't have them all be Captain America. You can't have them all be Cyclops. There has to be things that differentiate them from one another, and being gay is just another characteristic. Some people are gay. It makes sense that some of the members of the X-Men would be.
Very cool. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know what they get as their wedding gifts and stuff in their vows, so I'll be surprised when I get home. If people want to find out more about comics, or what comics are appropriate for their kid, like if they're 6 or 7 or they're 13, how can they find out more, or find out more about Richmond Comix?
Well, we have a website, richmondcomix.com, that they can go to, and everything that's coming out next week is up on our website this week. as far as the ratings go, Marvel has a rating system.
Okay.
Anything rated A is appropriate for all ages. Richmond Comix here, we have, and I'm very proud to say, the largest selection of kids' comics, at least in Richmond, if not Virginia. We try to cater to families. We have a lot of parents that have come back to comics because their kids have started reading, and we try to, fit everybody with a comic that fits them.
Very cool. Well, if you missed Astonishing X-Men number 51, you missed out on a groundbreaking and really historic issue, so you could try scrounging the racks in some other stores and see if you can find one. They're going fast.
They are going fast. I did order double what I would normally order on this issue. Not because I thought I could sell a ton of extra copies, but I wanted to make sure that the industry knows that we're behind them when they are behind important social change.
Very cool. Tommy, thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Eric.
I'm Eric Russell. I've been out and about with Tommy Donovan here at Richmond Comix as we've been discussing Astonishing X-Men number 51, The Marriage of Northstar to Kyle. You never know when we're going to turn up next, so tune in next time, and I'll see you. Catch you later.